Hey, I hope everybody's having a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas from Tommy and Tina here at the Take It Back show at Attorney King Studios in Coronado, California. And today we're with Tammy Olivic of Saddles and Service and an amazing program that helps first responders, military people, veterans with disabilities, PTSD through a writing program and here in the San Diego County area. And Tammy, we'd like to hear about your story and how this came about and where you're at today.
Well, thank you both for having me on. This is such a privilege. I love this. We started Saddles and Service back in 2017. Promote wellness and healing for all of our veterans and first responders that are struggling with post-traumatic stress, anxiety, depression, job-related stress, and traumatic brain injuries. And so in December of 2017, we had one hero that started the program. And we only had a couple horses at the time. And since then, we have grown like crazy. We now serve anywhere from 31 to 50 heroes every week. And we have rescue horses. So the majority of our horses are rescue horses as well.
Wonderful.
So we're watching this healing take place between the hero and the horse. And it's hard to explain. It's so beautiful what's happening.
No, it is. And there's always been a link between animals and people who are injured and suffering through those things. I know I have a dog that was given to me for PTSD, and it's wonderful. I used to ride horses. I can't anymore. After my last surgery, they said you can't be on a horse anymore, which really bums me out. And but I still love horses and going up around them. But there's a couple smaller programs. There's one I know in North LA area that's run by some veterans that does something similar, but not on the scale that you have. And there was another one in the Inland Empire, but I think they terminated because of the cost involved. And it's such a wonderful program. And when you see the results of people after they've interacted with these animals and they care about something other than their own issues, it's amazing. And
it is. And I love with our program, what we're seeing is, well, first of all, our program's at no cost to the heroes who are going through it. And second, there's no time restriction. So they come every week. And I've had some that have been coming for 2 years now. So where we differ from other programs is ours is ongoing. So they're going from nothing to, some of them are getting ready to try and learn how to do roping and barrel racing. So we're giving them a whole lifestyle change. There's this added lifestyle. And we took part in research that was done out of National University. And it was all scientific research. It was, they measured the heart rate variability of the veteran and first responder when they arrived, after they groomed their horse, and then at the end of their session. And so with all the scientific data they compiled, they found that the first 3 visits, it's a heart thing. It's emotional, right? It's this beautiful feeling. But after the 3rd visit, the brain starts to catch up. And so what it's showing is the longer that you're engaged with the horse, the more we're going to see a change. And so it's just, I like to say, horses are amazing. I love working with horses. And I'll tell you, I think there are some horses here that I have that are smarter than me. I don't know. They're just amazing animals. And so I just can't tell you the changes we're seeing in our veterans and first responders, but not only them, their family life is now being affected, right? So we're teaching them to be in the moment, to live in the present, to not bring their work and their stress home, but when they're with their family, be with their family. And so it's not just healing the hero, but it's also helping heal their families.
How does it start out if somebody who's never been in the program contacts you, or do they show up at your location? What do you do on day one?
Okay, sure. So they'll apply for our program on our website, and it's a real quick little thing, your name, phone number, email, and I think a questionnaire is if you've been dealing with post-traumatic stress or any of the issues that we focus on. And then we'll call them up. We set up an appointment for them to come get a tour, meet us, talk to us, ask us questions, and we go over the program with them. And it gives me an idea of what they're going to need, because I pair each hero with a wrangler and a horse. And so before they even work with a horse, I kind of need to see, I need to be able to pair them with a good match, right? With a good horse. And so then the first day they come out, they learn how to catch their horse, how to properly put the halter on, how to properly lead the horse, how to groom the horse. And we pull out the whole grooming kit, explain the different tools, how to use them and why we use them. And then we go into groundwork, and they learn how to do groundwork with the horse in a big round pen. And what they're doing is they're using nonverbal communication, and they're moving the horse. They're having the horse move its feet. And they look for the sign for the horse to say, okay, you know what? I'm ready to trust you. I'm ready for you to be the alpha, and I want to join up with you. And the hero will drop all the whatever, if they're holding a lead line or whatever, they'll turn their back to the horse, and that horse will walk right up to them and follow them wherever they go. And you see these heroes just break down in tears. They're holding on to that horse. Just, that horse wanted to be with them. And, that's a 1,200-pound animal that's all of a sudden saying, can I get in your pocket? I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And so we really talk about the predator-prey relationship with the horse. Because, with our dogs, we have that predator-predator relationship. But with the horse, it's a predator-prey. And that horse is going to, by its actions or how its body language, what it's doing, is going to let you know what it's thinking or what you're putting out. For instance, I had a big Marine here. He's like 6'5". He looked at me. He's like, I don't understand. Why won't the horse join up with me? And I said, well, look at how you're standing. You're kind of aggressive. And his shoulders were kind of forward. And he was just this big, aggressive being. And as soon as he softened a little bit, that horse walked right up to him. And I said to him, I go, do people try and avoid you down the aisles of the grocery store? He goes, I don't know. I got to start looking. I didn't realize I was putting that out.
Wow. Horses are so perceptive, though, but they can sense all that in you, fear, and if you're comfortable.
Yes.
And they're so smart.
They are.
And the trust.
And so, oh, yes. And, a lot of these guys that come out here, they have a hard time trusting others, right? And so to just trust this horse, that this horse is going to take care of them, but also vice versa, the horse trusting them to take care of them. That's a big deal for some of these guys that come out here. It's a real big deal. But I think what has made us so successful, besides that we have these amazing horses that are just, I love them. My husband served 25 years. He's dealing with post-traumatic stress. Our son is a cop, and he's also in the Army Reserves. And our other son is in the hiring process to be a firefighter out in LA. And so when people come to our gate, we already have a connection. There's always a trust and a respect because we've been in their shoes, right? Most of our wranglers are either veterans or first responders or the spouse or child of. So we have one big, huge family here, and the connections are instant. And that has been a big part of the success here, because a lot of the men and women that come out here, they need to feel safe, that they're in a place that other people know where they've been, what they've done, but they don't ask questions. And so that's important.
So is this why you started Saddles and Service? Is because you have that military? Was there an earth-shattering moment where you said, hey, this is what we need to do?
Oh, yes, there was. So when my husband was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and we moved out to Alpine, I rescued 2 horses. And watching him, the horse, because, with post-traumatic stress, a lot of times there's anger issues. Well, you have to really take a step back when you're with a horse, because if you're angry or you're exhibiting this, there could be some problems. And so watching how he had to work through maybe some frustrations or anger with the horse, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then we had a young Army Ranger, and his sister called me in tears. Please, Tammy, he needs to come out there. And I said, okay, we're not ready yet, but if he wants to come out, he can. So he comes out, and Mike, my husband, and him are in the round pen, and he's showing Joe what we're going to do with the horses. Well, instantly they start talking about, oh, you were in Fallujah? Yeah, I was there too. And there's this instant connection and bond. And when I saw that, I was like, no, I get the chills. This is exactly what we need to be doing, because we're going to make a difference in people's lives. And just the saying is, we have a miracle here every day. And we truly do.
That's such an amazing thing. And I think that you are leading the way to opening up about PTSD. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here as well. Wanting to let people know it's one thing is not going to work for everyone. Although I would think that the horses probably would, but it may not be everyone's right. It may not be everyone's cup of tea to work with horses, but we're trying to guide people through this podcast that there are so many different avenues. And we're hoping that, by showcasing a program like yours, that we're able to allow people say, hey, you know what? I've always loved horses. Maybe that might help me. Maybe that might be something I can do.
Right.
And another thing we do that, I guess, I have boys, and a husband. Obviously, I have all these men in my life, and I understand that sometimes to make something attractive for them to try, you have to say it in a different way. So one thing I decided to do out here was a lot of our say first responders, because they're still are, active in law enforcement or fire or whatever it may be. They don't want to say they need to do the program. So I say to them, hey, do you want to volunteer? Because if you're one of our volunteers, I'm going to teach you everything that you're going to learn in the program. And so then they start getting around the horses. And then it's 100%. I'm going to tell you 100%. They say to me, I'd like to do the program as well. Okay, that's awesome. So then they'll do the program the day they volunteer for the first 2 hours, and then they volunteer and they work with other horses. And they have also started helping other veterans and first responders. So this, they're constantly giving back. And it's just amazing to me.
Yeah, I think that's getting better. I know in my own experience, I came from a fairly large department, and you didn't want to say that you needed help, and you didn't want to get into any programs, because if you did, the job would know about it, and there'd be a little pink tag on your personnel jacket.
Yeah.
And even whether it was true or not, nobody would do it. I mean, nobody would. They would come around and do the critical stress debriefings, and they do all this stuff, and nobody would participate. And I think it's gotten better more recently because of these types of programs. But I think there might still be that little bit of a fear out there that you're not mentally stable for the job, and they get scared by that. So it's great to that you let them do that for anybody that might be worried. I think a lot of it's in our own heads, but
yes.
I know
yes.
best.
Yes. And we talk to them too about, because we have a connection with the different wellness departments at all the different law enforcement agencies out here. And, when we talk about it, we're offering all of their men and women a place to come to just reset and kind of reground yourself, right? Because they have all these daily stressors. We've had a real big uptick in firefighters recently, wildland firefighters, and some of our local firefighters. And, the suicide rate in wildland fire has skyrocketed. And so now all of a sudden it's like, oh gosh, what do we do? And so we're trying to get them all out here and just teach them how to be a cowboy. You want to be a cowboy? Who doesn't want to be a cowboy?
Absolutely. Like my wife used to say, when she met me, she says, I got so lucky. I got a cowboy and a fireman. I said, hey.
Oh, see? Look at that. Army cowboy. I have a few of those. Another thing that's really helped us too is when I developed our board of directors, I brought in a retired fire chief. I brought in what is he now? Sergeant. Oh, he's going to kill me because I forget right now. He just made a higher rank, but for a police officer. So on our board of directors, we have veterans. I have firemen. I have cops. I have, the population we serve, because if I need their intake or their take on what we need to do for their population. So we've really brought in. Yes. And our advisory board, I have battalion chiefs, I have captains, and I have, veterinarians. I have an MFT, clinical psychologist as well. And we have no psychotherapy here, because for me, they go out and see their therapists out in town. When they're here, they need to just focus on them and their horse. And if you have a psychotherapist here, then all of a sudden they feel someone's analyzing them, right? So now you can't really be yourself. So our clinical psychologist that's on the advisory board, she just works with me, and we're actually going to do a clinic where she's going to talk to all the volunteers, and we're just going to talk about trigger words, right? Things we don't want to say or things you don't want to ask. And just, I'm always trying to find clinics and different things I can do for my volunteers to just make us well-rounded and the best that we can be. So we do everything we can to just make this place just a sanctuary, just a sanctuary.
You know, I'll relate to something from my own experience. I'm glad you bring that up about having the way you have that set up. Is I had a really bad call and I needed to see somebody, and I actually reached out and I said I have to talk to somebody. I have to get into some kind of a therapy program because it was tearing me apart. And they said I had to go to this 6-month group session once a week. And I said, okay. I said, I'll do that. You know, I could get off. They'd let me off work to go do it. And so I thought, okay, great. And so I get there and I'm expecting the room to be, I didn't know what to expect actually, but I got there and it was very soothing area. And they had like a circle where people could sit and a counselor. And I was the only firefighter. There were no police officers, no firefighters. I was the only one, and I couldn't relate to anybody. And
Right.
they would sit there, as one woman, I mean, they might be the nicest people, but she had mom issues. Another guy had his wife was henpecking him and stuff like this. And what's your problem? I don't know. The 4 teenagers that all got decapitated. The counselor said, that's enough of that. We don't need that kind of talk in here. And so I just said, okay, I get it. I'm just supposed to sit here and nod my head and wait. Now I got to sit here for 6 months. And that's one of my personal stories. And I have, that is amazing. I like that. I like that where you have people that are actually from that area dealing with people in those areas. It makes such a big difference to be with your brothers and sisters who know what you're going through.
Exactly. You know, I'll tell you a quick little story. Someone tagged me on a post on Instagram the other day. And it was about his brother committing suicide. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I take all this so personally, you know, I just feel like I feel it. I feel when they're in that pain, I just feel it. And I right away did a private message to him saying, hey, we're here for you. Here's my cell number. Let me know if you want to come out. Well, I think about 20 minutes later, I got a phone call, and it was the guy who had written the post. And I said, you know, come on out. We're out here tomorrow. We have a big natural horsemanship clinic, but come on out. I'll give you a tour, and you can be around some other guys that have been in your shoes, right? That you can, that camaraderie. Well, then I had another gentleman reach out to me who's active duty Navy. And I said, yeah, come on out tomorrow. We're having a clinic. So I sit and talk with the two of them, and I knew the one, his brother had committed suicide, and they're both veterans, the brother and him. And then this active duty military member. Well, as we were talking, the active duty said, yeah, my buddy just committed suicide 2 weeks ago, and I'm really struggling. And the other guy kind of put his head down, and I knew his brother committed suicide, but I wasn't going to say it. Let's let them talk. I excused myself for a minute because I had to deal with the horse. And I see them just start talking. Here are two guys who just met, right, through horses. And the one guy he's in tears, but he's able to get his story out and tell what he feels. And they both understand. They both understand it. They get it. They have a brotherhood. Well, by the time they left, which was a couple hours later, they were already planning on having the one take his family over to the other guy's house while those two came here to work with horses. Oh, so wow. That's the kind of camaraderie that we get here because they get it. Like you're saying, if someone doesn't understand, they don't understand. And you almost feel like you're not being heard if people don't understand.
Right. And one thing I have to say from being a first responder and military is we have a gallows humor. And not everyone gets it. And that's how we cope with stress. And when you're with
Yes.
the group, you don't feel guarded
Right.
that you can't say something because they've all probably said the same thing, and you feel safe. And that's
Yes.
really important. Because how can you open up and heal yourself if you have to keep it within you and not share it? I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Yes, I know. And I have to say, having all these military members here and first responders, I always tell people if they want to just volunteer and they're not part of that group, I go, look, you're going to hear words. They're going to come out of people's mouths. And you're just, if you don't like to hear certain words, then we're not the place for you, because we're around a bunch of sailors and, you know, you name it, we got it.
Get that.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm curious, where do you get your horses?
So, the first two came from the Bonita Animal Shelter. One of them had been abandoned. They just let them loose. The other one we had been confiscated from a ranch. And the majority of the other ones came from a rescue out in Valley Center. I basically rescued from a rescue. This rescue was shut down. And then owner surrender.
Okay.
So we have some owner surrender. What was that?
I said you don't have to do any breaking then of the horses that you get.
Oh, well, no, one of the horses we got her at 2 years old, and she knew nothing. So we've taught her everything she needed to. Yeah. So she's a handful. She's a 4-year-old Arabian. Oh, she's a handful. Let me tell you.
That'd be beautiful. That'd be a beautiful horse.
Yeah.
You'd probably pair her up with me. I'm a handful.
There we go. Maybe we'll get a couple wild Mustangs out here. You can help me out.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
I would love one in a heartbeat. I live in Norco. You know where Norco is? We have horse.
Yes.
That's Horsetown, USA.
And I don't know how many times I've been offered a free horse because I've got an area in the back for horses, and my wife always says no. And I said, well, it's free. And we all know there's no such thing as a free horse. And,
I know. My husband has heard that many times.
I have a friend of mine who was with BLM, and every now and then he said, "You want a Mustang?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love one." But he couldn't afford it. There's no way by the time he traded it.
That leads me to another question. How do you keep the program going? Do you have donators or, people that come in, and since it's free for participants, how do you do your fundraising?
Yes. So we have donors that donate. This year it's a little bit of a struggle because of COVID. But yes, donors, we've had a couple foundations that have given us grants as well. But basically donors. And right now, my husband and I still have to supplement. We haven't gotten to the point where we totally break even yet with the feed and all the care. But we have no salaries. So everything that comes to us goes directly to keeping these horses and having them ready, sound for the heroes. So it's all goes to the program.
Well, we're starting a new thing with the show here. We're doing a program on our YouTube channel called Out and About with Tommy and Tina. We'd love to come over sometime and do some video. And
yes, I'd love to have you over.
That would be great.
It would be. That'd be really interesting to see and actually show people, what it looks like out there.
Oh, I'd love that. You just let me know when, and
Okay.
Okay, we'll be
we'll
over in
talk
about
about
20 minutes.
Yeah, there you
Just
go.
kidding.
But you're in Alpine,
Great.
right?
Yeah, we're in Alpine. We're in Capitol Valley, so we're Alpine, but we're really closer to Descanso. We're out that way.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
If anybody wants to get a hold of you, the program, find you online, where can they do that?
So our website is saddlesinservice.org. They can go to our website. They can sign up to volunteer to start the program. They can donate. They can sponsor a horse. So we love when people sponsor horses because that really helps us because, horses eat a lot of food. And but yes, and they can contact us. Our email address is contact@saddlesinservice.org. Or they can call me at area code 626-252-3833.
Okay,
Or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
We'll also put your information up on our Facebook page and our website too, so that people can.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
So they can write to it.
So
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we thank you so much, Tammy, for being here with us today. Saddles in Service out of Alpine, California. Everybody, you are here with Tommy and Tina on the Take It Back show with Tommy and Tina in Attorney King Studios on IQ Podcasts. Thank you so much, Tammy.
Yes, Tammy. Thank you so much, and
we'll
keep up
see
the
you soon.
amazing work. Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
You
thank you so much. I look forward to it.
All right.
You
Merry
bet.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.